All right, just a little recap from last class. We said that proteins were polymers of amino acids, and we even got to draw an amino acid, and you should study that. You should know what the amine group is. You should know what the acid group is. You should know there's 20 different R groups, and we showed you a few of those in class. All right, so then where we left off last class, we asked, then how do you build proteins out of amino acids? What process do you use to bind amino acids together to form proteins? And the answer is dehydration synthesis. And this is where we left off. So dehydration synthesis literally means building by removing water. So here I have 2 amino acids drawn. You should be able to do this quite easily by now. And we said Miss OH and Mr. H eloped here, and they formed their nice own little water unit. So this OH is gone, this hydrogen is gone, and my eraser is not working. That is very not fun. All right, well, we're going to pretend it worked. The HOH left, and now this carbon's unhappy because it only has 3 covalent bonds. Nitrogen is unhappy because it only has 2, but the carbon reaches out to the nitrogen. And the water's left, and this is how you bind 2 amino acids together. Now you might be thinking, now do we have a protein that I have 2 amino acids bonded together? And the answer is no, because you need hundreds of amino acids bonded together. All we have are 2 amino acids covalently bonded by dehydration synthesis. And the special bond between 2 amino acids is called a peptide bond. And as you go through your reading in biology, you'll see pep usually means protein. So this is a peptide bond. All right, everybody have that? All right, so moving right along, there's a little review slide. So this is Labor Day weekend when I'm recording this, and my SI leader, Zach, said he was going to go to Cookout and eat a hamburger. So my question is, all right, cows, their meat is made out of proteins. And Zach is a human, he's made out of proteins. And my question is, are cow proteins identical to Zach proteins, human proteins? And the answer is no. All right, if you look at Zach, he doesn't have an udder, he doesn't have cow hair. All right, so no, cow proteins are not identical to human proteins. But what about the amino acids? Are the amino acids that are in Zach's hamburger identical to the amino acids in Zach's body? Well, you have to remember from last class, how many different amino acids did I say there were? How many types, I should say? Well, the answer was 20. There are 20 different amino acids. And did I say 20 in the human body or 20 in nature? So the answer is there's 20 amino acids in nature. So are cow amino acids identical to human amino acids? The answer is absolutely, positively yes. All right, so there's 20 different types of amino acids, and the cows would have some of them, maybe not all 20, and I don't have any 20 different colors here, so I'm not going to draw all 20 different colors. Blue doesn't even show up on blue, imagine that. All right, we'll make one green right here. So what do we do? How can Zach separate these amino acids so he can use them to rebuild human proteins? The answer is, drumroll, hydrolysis. Hydrolysis literally means splitting with water, because lysis means to split and hydro means water. So if you want a formal definition of hydrolysis, it's the splitting of larger molecules into smaller molecules by the addition of water. So a formal definition of hydrolysis is the splitting of larger molecules into smaller molecules by the addition of water. And where do you do hydrolysis in your body? Well, anywhere you do digestion, because that is what we call hydrolysis when it happens in our digestive tract. So with Zach, when he ate the cow proteins, all right, he started hydrolyzing them or digesting them in his mouth, and then more digestion occurred in his stomach. But the most digestion or hydrolysis occurs in his small intestine. All right. So let's take a closer look at hydrolysis. And what you're going to see is hydrolysis is the exact opposite of dehydration synthesis. So if we go back here, here we go. Maybe this will actually work. Oh, yes, it started working. but it doesn't. Oh, I know why that didn't work. I just realized something. All right, so we had this little scenario where HOH eloped. All right, well now water is going to go back in. They decided to go back to their families. H rejoins with nitrogen. OH rejoins with carbon. And so where we had a peptide bond here, the water comes in and splits the peptide bond. And now we have 2 amino acids. Okay? So hydrolysis is the exact opposite of dehydration synthesis. Dehydration synthesis is building by removing water. Hydrolysis is splitting by adding water. All right, so this is what's going to happen with Zach. He eats his cow, he eats his hamburger, and he's going to, in his digestive tract, hydrolyze it and separate it into the individual amino acids. Now, I don't know if you've ever dissected a cat or a frog in high school, but wrapped around the small intestine are lots and lots of tiny little blood vessels called capillaries. So after Zach digests his hamburger into the constituent individual amino acids, the amino acids are going to be absorbed into his blood, go to his cells, and maybe his muscle cells, for instance, and Zach is going to reorder these cow amino acids into the right order to make his human amino acids. So they're same amino acids, they're just rearranged in a different order. So by rearranging the amino acids, he converted this cow protein into a human protein. And what process do you think Zach used to link these amino acids back together? Well, if you are thinking dehydration synthesis, you are absolutely correct. So let's review. Here we have Zach. Hi, Zach. And Zach at the cookout literally ate a cow. All right, and the cow was made up of proteins, which are a chain of amino acids. All right, so one more time. Are Zach's proteins identical to the cow proteins? No way, Jose. No, they're not. Are Zach's amino acids identical to the cow's amino acids? Yes, indeed they are. So what Zach did is he ate the cow and he digested or hydrolyzed the protein back down into amino acids. And then in his body, he reordered them to make Zach proteins. So here the amino acids were in a particular order in the cow, and Zach rearranged them with dehydration synthesis to make a human protein. So the moral of the story is Zach did not make his individual amino acids from scratch. He stole them from the cow. Now, how many of you heard the expression, you are what you eat? Well, that's not just a saying. That's literally true. The muscle cells in Zach's body, those muscle proteins, are made up of amino acids he got from the cow. So whatever you eat, chicken, cow, corn, soy, that's part of your body now. So what about the cow? Do you think the cow made its amino acids from scratch, or do you think it stole them from somebody else? Well, it is a consumer. It stole them from somebody else. So let's say the cow ate some corn. We tend to feed our cattle corn in the U.S., which might not be the healthiest for the cow, but we do it. So what do you think? You should be getting the hang of this by now. Are corn protein molecules identical to cow protein molecules? Are you thinking no? Good, because that's correct. What about the amino acid? Are corn amino acids identical to cow amino acids? The answer is yes. All right, there's 20 amino acids that all living things share. All right, so what do the cows do? They eat the corn, and in their digestive tract, they digest the corn protein back into amino acids. It's absorbed in their bloodstream. The amino acids go to their cells, and they relink the amino acids together to make proteins, yes, by using the process of dehydration synthesis. So it looks like we're at the end of the line here. What about the corn? Do they get to eat something else? Do they get to steal amino acids from somebody else? No, they have to make their individual amino acids from scratch. They are producers, and producers produce their own food, which we consumers steal. So the producers, they photosynthesize and make the sugar that moves up the food chain. They make the amino acids that go up the food chain. So this sets up your homework assignment. You should know how to draw an amino acid. And what do you need to make an amino acid? You need hydrogen. you need carbon, you need oxygen, you need nitrogen. But here's the problem. There's not just loose hydrogen atoms rolling around in nature. So what you have to do is, for homework, look at these simple molecules we talked about earlier in the course and figure out which ones do you think would the plants use to make an amino acid. All right, and you can talk with your bio buddies, you can talk about SI, but that is part of your homework assignment to figure out how the corn plant makes its amino acids from scratch. What simple molecules does it use? So to summarize here, oh yes, this is a reminder that said food chain, but it's off the screen. This is a food chain, just like you learned about in 4th grade. But probably it's a little deeper because this is a college level food chain. You probably didn't learn about hydrolysis and dehydration synthesis in 4th grade. So to summarize, who makes the amino acids from scratch? You can say plants make amino acids from scratch, but really the better answer is producers. I will accept either answers. Producers of an ecosystem are the ones that make the amino acids from scratch. In our ecosystems, it's normally plants. Second question, what simple inorganic molecules do plants or producers use to make their amino acids? Well, that's your homework assignment. Got it? So that wraps up proteins, but I just want to spend the last 30 seconds to review or introduce nucleic acids. So nucleic acids, all right, they are our friends DNA or RNA. And what you need to know on your next quiz is that they are polymers of nucleotides. And that's just a big ugly word you have to memorize because DNA is a really long molecule, twisted ladder, and you think nucleotides would be the big molecule because it's a long word, but it's not. It's just the itty bitty tiny little building block of DNA. DNA or RNA is made up of millions and millions of nucleotides. So you just have to memorize DNA or RNA. DNA is the polymer, and the building block of DNA is a nucleotide. And here's a little picture of a sample nucleotide. You do not have to memorize it for your next quiz, but by this point in the course, you should be getting used to recognizing the functional groups. So can you use your flashcards and find a functional group? Hopefully you recognize that's an amine. NH2 is an amine group. OH is the hydroxyl group. That should be a flashcard. And this is a giveaway. This is the phosphate group right here. What's in yellow? It's PO4 with either a -2 or -3 charge. So this is a nice little review, and we'll see you in the next video.